What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're actually taking a step outside of the studio, testing some rather exciting gear, that being the Zhiyun Weebill 2 flying the Red Komodo. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the most satisfying run and gun setups, not just to look at, but also to use. It's super lightweight and portable, and the results you can achieve with this setup just simply are not fair when you consider the cost. It really does just blow my mind how affordable and capable film equipment has become in recent years. Honestly, it is probably just the best time in the world to be a filmmaker right now. Constantly seeing new emerging technologies, good cameras, good equipment getting cheaper, and cheap cameras and equipment are getting better. Now, the sequence you just saw is a pretty prime example of the kind of content I would make when I used to work over at It's Just a 6 before going full-time into color. So I figured what a better way to test this thing than to shoot the kind of work I'm used to shooting, stress test the gimbal a bit, and see if I can achieve better results more efficiently than before. So without further ado, let's jump back on set and check out today's subject. Now, the story behind this car, some of you may not know this, but I actually used to work with It's Just a 6, creating some of the wildest car content on YouTube. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. Now, again, we're testing two main things. Obviously, the power of these motors, how they hold up in that high wind scenario. And we're also gonna be testing the intelligence of these motors, doing some stationary shots here in just a minute, seeing how they react to these fine, minute movements, and seeing if this gimbal can actually achieve some nice macro shots. That is turning out to be the hardest part, is just keeping it all in focus. You get the Pro package, you'll have the wireless transmitter and a follow focus. If you can pair that with the Red app, you can actually control the focus from your phone while monitoring it. So if you had a separate focus puller, kind of a first AC sort of thing, they could be doing that while you're making sure everything's in frame. And I will say, again, even with the wind, it's handling very well. The only restraint, sometimes in that lower underslung mode, we're getting a little bit of vibration, but that I'm gonna say is due to the balance here. Couldn't actually fit the polarizer on here because it was putting the center of gravity too far forward. Gave me a couple of issues with the clearance of the batteries with this back motor, as you see here. So that's why we're kind of stressing this thing out a little bit. But again, it's still holding up like a champ, and we're still getting some good footage. So let's get back to it. All right, so we just did some of those roller shots. Now I'm gonna go ahead, and we have a heavier lens that Andrew is actually shooting on now. It's the Canon EF 24-70. This we may have a little bit of trouble balancing. So I think the main thing here, I can't necessarily balance it to also be able to go into the underslung mode. But with this lens, I think we can actually get a decent balance if it's just in that upright, that vertical mode. So let's go ahead and try and do this. We have these very handy locks right here. So it makes balancing the entire thing super, super simple. We have the roll axis locked. We're just gonna work on making sure this axis is balanced, at least as best as it can be. So we're just gonna unlock it, slide it back a little bit. We're gonna wait until we find that sweet spot. We've also kind of got that SDI cable that's given us a little bit of resistance, which is, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. In recent years, motors have gotten a lot stronger on these smaller gimbals. A lot of technology has gone into them, so there's really not a whole lot of stress, at least in my personal opinion, with having a cable that's tugging on this just a little bit. This gimbal in particular is so handy. This little flip out touchscreen, you can monitor exactly how much torque is on these motors, each one individually, whenever you want to check your balance. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to power it on. Going to make sure all the motors are unlocked. And we can do a balance check right here. And as you see, this is this little center white line, that's your center point. And any blue that you see, that means you're pretty much in the clear. If it goes yellow, that means you might want to consider adjusting it. And if it goes red, then you really have a problem. Zhiyun absolutely killed it with this one. All the functionality, all the stuff you used to need to go into the app for, you have the control of those parameters right here built into the touchscreen. Also 9-hour battery life. You got the focus wheel, which you can be programmed to pretty much anything you need it to be. We've got the different modes, easily switchable right here, a record button, run stop right there, and then lastly your joystick. So really, all the features that you could ever need in a gimbal are built into this one right here. We still don't even know what the maximum payload is. We haven't hit it yet. I can tell you that much for sure. And if you get the Pro package, it comes with not only a follow focus, but a wireless transmission system, which you can use to let your clients monitor remotely. Tons of big features packed into this little gimbal. So you can throw this thing into a backpack, and so far, it has not let me down in today's testing.
Follow me, been in my head all day, been in my gang on gang. I gotta see myself, letting my shadow bleed. I can't even stress. I'm getting tired of the solo nights, tired of the phony words. Tell me that I'm overreacting, tell me that I'm overreacting. I wish someone come and wake me up, or maybe I just need a break in love.
We're gonna go ahead and see if this motor will still hold up without being rebalanced if we take it all the way to 70. And that's asking a lot. definitely a little bit shaky here, but we really are just abusing this gimbal. So because we're tighter right now, we can make smaller movements and they're gonna look larger. So just gonna do a little rock back and forth here. All right, we're just gonna get a few more detail shots of the car, try and get a few interior clips as well. So now this does work in underslung mode with this lens. I think we're getting a little bit of resistance because that cable is kind of at its maximum right now. But all in all, I mean, it's looking really good. All right, that's gonna be it for today. We're gonna call it a wrap. I'll see you guys back in the studio. All right, so that just about does it for me. Now, before you go, I do want you to check out that link below. I've uploaded some of these clips from today in my Google Drive link. If you're interested in checking out those clips, you can really see in full scale, these full Red Rock clips, just how impressive this camera gimbal combo really is. And again, big thanks to Zhiyun for sending over the Weebill 2. You guys absolutely crushed it with this gimbal. It is a blast to use. There's no way I could cover all the features in one video. So thanks again, and with that, I will see you guys in the next one.